thinking of reputation, you know, the reputation in the SEAL team is very important. I have fun with your reputation, you know, meaning I kind of have presented a reputation for you against your will in some cases of this level of cruising and relaxing and maybe not super overly concerned about work or anything like that. First of all, has that ever bothered you? No. Okay. Second of all, if it did bother you, how would you handle it? And I'm going to answer that right now. If it bothered you, the way to handle it would be the way you're handling it right now.
Okay.
So even if it bothered you right now secretly, and you were like, no, it doesn't bother me, that's the way to handle it. Yeah. So this is my advice, right?
Keep it up.
Yeah. If someone's, you know, harassing you about something, or they're doing something, saying something, and you don't like it, the worst thing you could do is let everyone know that you don't like it. This is like lesson day 1 of the SEAL teams.
Yes,
if
sir.
you show that something bothers you, that's gonna stick. If you don't let it show that, then people will move on because it gets boring.
Yeah.
Hey, if I was making fun of you all the time, actually, the only reason I keep teasing you about this stuff is because it's funny. You laugh, I laugh. We're fun. It's funny. If you weren't laughing and I was just, then I probably would have moved on to something else to try and harass you out and try and find them some little chink in the armor to get through.
Yeah.
So reputations. If someone is in a situation where their reputation isn't what they want it to be, how do you course correct that? I'm going to say, first of all, you got to kind of own it. Meaning, hey, the reason I have this reputation is something that I'm doing is earning me this reputation. A lot of times people think that, everyone just says that about me. They're against me. They're trying to make me look bad. And what is this? This is the opposite of extreme ownership. We're blaming other people. Which means you're not going to make any adjustments to whatever it is you're doing that's earning you this reputation in the first place. So your reputation didn't appear out of thin air. Your reputation actually came from something that you did. Unintentional, intentional, knowing, unknowing, but you did something that made people focus on this aspect of you. And that little aspect is now turned into a reputation. If you deny it, that's not me. No, that's not the right move. We have to actually take ownership of the reputation that we got. And if there's adjustments that need to be made to it, we need to adjust our behavior in order to adjust our reputation. Reputation is strategic, meaning it's a long-term item. You can do things tactically that can help your reputation, that can hurt your reputation, but over time, you have to maintain the long game on reputation. You can't be a slacker, work hard one day and think your reputation's gonna be good. You can't be angry, temper, emotional, and then one day try and act calm and you think your reputation's good. It doesn't work like that. Reputation is a strategic thing that you need to think about. And you need to act strategic when it comes to how you carry yourself and how it's going to impact your reputation. That's the way it works. So if you notice or you start to feel like your reputation is not where you want it to be, assess, own it, assess what corrections you need to make. By the way, I don't recommend radical changes where, I've been lazy, and one day I just come in and start working ultra hard. Because people don't, I'm not saying you can't do that, but everyone's going to kind of feel that. Everyone's going to kind of be like, oh, it doesn't seem like a lasting thing. It's a tactical move, but not a strategic move. It's a tactical move, it's not a strategic move. If you say, oh, hey, let me pick up that other shift continually. Let me take that extra shift for the long haul. Oh, you got that little project? I can take that thing. You want to go in and say, oh, I got the new shift, I got this, I got that. No, it's too much. People don't buy. People don't believe it. It's like a fad diet. Look, that's a tactical situation. They're in a prison. It's not a strategic move to do that. They weren't trying to say win the war with these by stacking these guys and stripping them naked and putting a dog leash. That wasn't good. That wasn't a strategic move, but it had a strategic impact, a negative strategic impact. So it's the same thing with our reputation. If you make dumb tactical moves that might not seem like a big deal to you, you might kind of shrug your shoulders and say, whatever. Mm-hmm. Oh, it doesn't matter if I just cut this corner right now. But if that little corner that you cut, some people, you know what's a big one? Like dishonesty. How do you identify what games are worth playing or games to avoid? Again, this is a study in return on investment. And it's not just return, it's return on investment. So it's what are you going to have to put into this thing and what can we possibly get out of it and what are the risks involved? And then you just have to be honest with yourself. Just be honest with yourself. You're looking at some game. Want to get involved with a girl. Want to start a new business. Want to get involved in a club. There's like a, Rotary Club or whatever. Want to get involved in that thing. Want to get involved in some volunteer organization. Whatever it is. What are you going to have to put into it? What's the return going to be? And what are the risks involved? And be honest with yourself. There you go. Perfect example. He had to look at it. He's got this game. He knows what the investment is. It's his time. It's his effort. And he's putting everything into it. And he's already achieved. He's gotten what the return that he's gotten. He's like, you know what? I got enough money. I got enough fame. I got enough credit. Street cred from who gives street cred? Comedians cred or something? I don't know. He looked at it, measured the ROI, and said, okay, cool, I'm done. And there you go. Yep. Good metaphor there. How to know when you're playing the wrong game and it's time to quit or switch games. Okay. ROI, right? Measure the ROI. What are you getting out of this? If you're going to get a lot out of it, but it's a lot of effort, okay, well, is it worth the effort? Is it worth the investment? Time, money, leadership capital, whatever the thing is. Family. Is it going to be worth it? Or is it not? And so when you figure out the risks and you figure out the investment and you figure out the return you may or may not get based on those risks, okay, then you can make a decision. Now, what's interesting about this question is we're in the game. He's saying you're playing the wrong game. So now what we have to do is we have to do an honest assessment of our trajectory in this game, right? How well am I doing? Am I making progress? You know how now in the UFC, when you watch the UFC, they have the odds? They show the odds after each round. Yeah, so now that's a new thing. I don't know how new it is, but it's a few years old, but like, oh, Echo really did great in that last round against JOCKO. His odds of winning now just went up. Mm-hmm. Oh, JOCKO just came back and had a great round. And plus, Echo was like stunned at the end of the round. It looked like he was going to get knocked out. He got saved by the bell. Oh, JOCKO's odds just went up for the last round a lot. You have to do an assessment and see where you're at, right? And see what is your trajectory of what's happening. It's kind of like what you said you did with your jiu-jitsu career. You're like, okay, I'm 30. Whatever, you're 34 years old. I'm the 7th best guy in my gym, which is not bad, but let's face it, we're one gym. Okay. Yeah. And I'm making progress, but so is everybody else. Okay, where am I at? Where am I going with this? Mm-hmm. Same thing with a job, Okay, I've been at this same job. I've been in this position for 4 years. I haven't been promoted in the last 3 years. I don't have a good relationship with my boss. This does not seem like it's a good fit for me. So you've got to do an honest assessment of your trajectory and make a decision. One thing that you can do is you can kind of mitigate risk, right? This is a story I've told a few times, but Greg McIntyre.
Sure.
Greg Train. Yeah, Greg Train. At a certain point, Greg's a badass. He's a freaking great wrestler. His jiu-jitsu solid. He's a great athlete. He's a good boxer. And he was starting in the MMA scene. And he had real legit potential in MMA because he's a great wrestler, tough as nails, strong he's freaking 155 pounder. He's strong as hell. So Greg Train actually asked me, and this was like probably 15 or 20 years ago. This is a long time ago. Yeah. This is probably 20 years ago. Yeah. He was like, what do you think I should do? Should I just dedicate my whole life right now to MMA? Or should I keep training, but also he wanted to get a degree, he wanted to become an x-ray technician, that's what he is, right? Yep. And I was like, listen, bro, how many hours a day can you train? Legitimately. And I said, can you train 16 hours a day? And he said, no. I said, no one can train 16 hours a day. If you really train hard, how many hours a day can you train? Including recovery, like the whole 9 yards. He's like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5, right? That's like training, conditioning, recovery. Maybe you do 6. Maybe you do 6. Okay, you're going to work 8 hours a day. You sleep 8 hours a day. That's 16 hours, right? You got plenty of time to train, and you can still have a backup to MMA in case you go to wrestling practice tomorrow and blow your knee out, which can happen on any given day. And so he played both games, you know? And he had a good run at MMA. He also ran into some problems that were tough to deal with. And so he mitigated the risk, played more than one game at the same time. And when the MMA thing dried up, guess what? He still had a cool career, making good money, beautiful family, taking care of them, house, like the whole 9 yards. So that's a situation where he didn't necessarily quit the other game, but he mitigated the risk by playing multiple games at the same time.